4 seed in the Eastern Conference. They're institutionally strong with great basketball culture, one of the best coaches in the NBA, great GM. They're going to play hard every night. They have a brand of basketball and a continuity that will benefit them. I am as high on Jason Tatum as I've been in his career as an all-around basketball player. There's a ton of things I love about Boston, but right now I just don't think they have the top-end talent to be anything more than a long-shot contender. That said, they are positioned well to be able to make some sort of trade, whether it's using the Derek White contract or the Paul George contract or a smaller contract. They've got a boatload of draft picks to spend, and at some point this season, I think they're going to pull the trigger on somebody. I don't know who it is, but if they do, that could potentially vault them off of this tier. But as currently constructed, I look at them as a really good regular season team that lacks the talent to compete against the best teams in the league, so I have them as a long shot contender at number 8. And then number 7, a team that I went back and forth on a lot over the course of the last couple of weeks, the Toronto Raptors. And what I ended up dropping them to this tier because of the question mark thing. So my first impression when the Kawhi trade was announced with Toronto was, oh, this is so straightforward for me. I thought Toronto was really good. Kawhi, Scotty Barnes, and Colin Murray-Boyles can switch a lot of actions at the 3 through 5. They have big athletic guards. They have guys that can beat people off the dribble like Emmanuel Quickley and Jamal Shed. There are just a lot of things that I really like about that Toronto team. And Kawhi Leonard, I just think, helps them on both ends of the floor in key ways. Scotty Barnes, as good as he is, he's not a surgical half-court scorer. Kawhi can help him with that. And he gives him another rangy, switchy, versatile defensive athlete to put alongside a front court that already has a bunch of rangy, switchy, versatile athletes. So, there's a lot of, we're going to talk about Philly a little bit. There's a lot of, will this work? Will this fit? And, I don't have concerns necessarily about Kawhi's ability to fit in and help Toronto on both ends of the floor, but there are enough question marks with the youth and experience of a guy like Scotty Barnes, with the question marks surrounding some of their role players. Colin Murray-Boyles going into just his second season. Kawhi Leonard's health and his issues to just stay on the floor in recent years. I felt like I wanted to be consistent with that, so I ended up dropping Toronto to number 7 as a long shot contender. But I want to be clear, if they are healthy and Kawhi's cooking on all cylinders when they get to the playoffs, that team's going to be a bitch to deal with for 2 weeks. And that's why I have them at the top of this tier in that number 7 spot. Today's show is brought to you by our presenting sponsor, Hard Rock Bet Sportsbook. Some sports fans call this the slow period of the football season, but on Hard Rock Bet, we call it baseball season. There's a full slate almost every day for you to bet with your favorite teams and players. Build epic same-game parlays, and even live bet every inning from the first pitch to the final out. However you like to play ball, Hard Rock Bet has you covered. If you need baseball, it's a slow pick again. The average first inning lasted 17 minutes, making first inning bets flashes one of the most exciting ways to get in on the action. Will it be a run, or will it be a no-run first inning? You can even parlay first inning bets for a bigger, simple payday. If you're ready to step into the batter's box, sign up with Hard Rock Bet today. Place a $5 bet. If you win, you get $150 in bonus bets on top of your winnings. That's right, an extra $150 in your account. Plus, Hard Rock Bet gives you new promos every single day. We're talking no sweat bets, profit boosts, bonus bets, and more. Open the Hard Rock Bet app now and see what you got today. And sure, Hard Rock Bet is Florida's only legal sportsbook, but you don't have to be in Florida to join the party. Hard Rock Bet is also live in Arizona, Ohio, New Jersey, Indiana, Tennessee, Virginia, Illinois, Colorado, and Michigan, with more states on the way. So download the Hard Rock Bet app and swing for the fences today. Our next tier, our 5th tier. Very simply, a roster squad of our best guy in the
I was going to start my career depending on the time that I started in school. Start sooner, finish faster. UCCI University, it was a fast-paced program, but I knew that it benefited me tremendously. Hands-on learning, dedicated student and graduate support. Everything was gone.
Number 6, the Los Angeles Lakers. Number 5, the Denver Nuggets. The rosters are flawed for different reasons. I talked about this at length. I actually like the Lakers offseason if they have plans to improve the team. For the record, for all you Lakers fans out there that are like, oh, I wish we could have had the ball in 4. That's not going to be the Lakers' fault. They're very much intent on moving on from the ball game. So that, like, for whatever, sellers remorse you might have, they're not feeling that. They're excited to move on. They were apparently the roster. Talking about that graphic that has Golden State showing no moves. A lot of moves for the Los Angeles Lakers, a lot of new guys. I like all the guys who signed for bench pieces. I like Carlos Sexton as a bench player. Cameron Carr, I think, is going to be a legitimate day one rotation starter for him, right? Let's talk about Melo. I think he's straight up better at basketball than really got the room to be a really useful bench piece for them. And with Walker Kessler, it's an expensive deal to make. He needs to be really good and healthy.
That was all me.
But I believe in Walker Kessler, and I think he's going to. I think the Lakers will look back on that trade. Problem is, and I'm as big Austin Reeves believer as you'll find, Luka Doncic from March is the best player in the world.
We like that.
That's how
we like that.
Walker Kessler is a great fit with them at the 5 spot. I love the bench guys. For all the people I just mentioned, who the fuck is starting at small forward and who the fuck is starting at power forward? That's the point, right?
Can we get that foul? No,
between Brian some nights, it'll be some nights, it'll be a variety of different guys.
Shit.
But that 4 spot in particular is just a big question mark for me. And I know John McKee is kind of the fallback plan, and I would expect that to come through. I'm factoring that in with this decision here. But Kuminga's a flawed basketball player, and there's a reason why he's available at the discount that he's going to be available for. There's a reason why Atlanta's like, no thanks, Jonathan. There's a reason why Golden State was like, no thanks, Jonathan, when they were headed for a rebuild. So just as much as I like this, like, everybody's on the starting 3 and 4 for them is a legitimate concern. That said, like the name of this tier says, our best guy gives us a puncher's chance. Having Luka Doncic with a legitimate secondary shot creator in Austin Reeves in an awesome defensive center, I just think they're going to be really difficult to deal with in a 7-game series if Luka Doncic is healthy. So even with those flaws, I had them a full tier. The Denver Nuggets, they lack athleticism. They're losing depth. They lose Tim Hardaway Jr. They lose Jonas Valanciunas. They match the offer sheet on Spencer Jones, but we'll see if they're able to maintain in Peyton Watson. We know Aaron Gordon has injury issues. Jamal Murray had his...
Humiliate himself even more than I suspected. If you asked me, guns to my head, where did I think he was going to go? I still thought Golden State, as you guys know.
A lot of us, and I'll put myself in that camp, was thinking that maybe it would be a hometown reunion with Cleveland or the poetic ending of going back to Miami.
The Knicks weren't interested in LeBron James piggybacking them for a title. He stacked it in Miami. He stacked it in Cleveland. He stacked it in LA. Now he's stacking it in Philly. He's always stacked his team.
Waiting 4 years now, and he keeps upping the bar of his own pathetic.
Got his hair.
Told the story of on his own show. That very story got away from him. So Sean was sitting across the table, and he pulled out a secret that Rich Paul was certain that nobody else knew about. He did Cavs from a meeting with LeBron in Athens in early July. Now here's the crazy part: you see Rich Paul's face change in real time. The most powerful agent in basketball just found out his best kept secret was his cap. And once that door opened, the reveal didn't stop. Everybody responsible for LeBron, they finally started talking. And every single thing they revealed made it way sadder for someone new. At the end of this video, you're going to know 4 things. One is what happened in that active meeting. Like, we were getting a secret hometown meeting. Things moving out on LeBron James even worse. Now we're going to talk about the one trade that secretly decided this entire summer. A trade that was sitting on the desk for multiple teams before one team decided that they were going to go all in. Our Warriors legend was getting to go over this from one of the biggest sports. The biggest losers of the NBA offseason. That's what we're talking about on today's show. It was a cool summer for these teams on Triple A, this is the basketball bulletins, and as always, it is down in Before we dive into everything, first of all, make sure you guys hit the subscribe button. Second of all,
your biggest loser of the NBA offseason? Put it in the comment section down below. We're talking Tuesday. He thinks it's the biggest loser of the NBA summer. Somebody who I know is not a loser this summer, Donnie Freeman. Good summer. I don't
know why you got to single me out. I didn't have anything extraordinary out of it, but I think that it's been a good summer.
It has been a good summer. I'd say it's collectively here on the basketball ball.
Oh, okay.
Summer with some record numbers and all that sort of stuff.
It's been a good summer. How good have been the B-more?
Although your recent car troubles, not good. Donnie, for you guys don't know this, Donnie had a tree fall across both his and his wife's car. Not the kind of surprise. What was that? That was the guy that brought time to the 76.
Correct, yeah. And it was like an hour later, he's like, well, surprise!
Come on. All right, let's get into the biggest losers of the NBA summer. We're going to start right here with most of what they're not doing. Anything, really. Congratulations, they re-signed younger guards. They also gave him a 2-year deal, thus negating the subsidized portion of his salary to keep that off of the books there. Like if they give him a 1-year deal, the NBA covers a portion of his salary in terms of the payment, the cap. And instead, they gave him a 2-year deal, which the NBA did not subsidize. So even that didn't work out so well. Now, meanwhile, they continue to demand such high prices that it suggests to everybody who will listen that the Pelicans are a team that believes they are secretly, very good.
Introducing QuickBooks with Intuit Intelligence. Ask questions to get instant answers and real-time insights that can grow your business. Whatever's holding you back, outdo it with Intuit QuickBooks.
If you're interested in scheduling or thinking about starting with this, everything you can know from pricing to the best business together. Pricing varies a ton across the board, but Lifeguard TV offers some of the pricing with $250. Unlike the competition, Lifeguard TV starts for 2 millimeter vials, not a 1 millimeter. They also have the most competitive prices on diversified that no one will see. Click the link below to check them out.
I don't know what they're doing. This is a team that has a few pieces that we're showing Trey Murphy. We got a few pieces that I like on this roster, but collectively together, this is a mess. And there's still questions about Zion Williams. Is he the guy on the team? Is he going to be the guy in the Pelicans? There's no real direction for this club. I don't know, the Pelicans are trying to get out of New Orleans? Is that the problem? Because this team seems like they're going nowhere fast.
Is that a scary ass fallout to the next team? Are we going to mention that? We've talked about that shit. Like maybe a little bit. Anyway, well, they've been linked to nationally lately, so maybe they have to with that. But yeah, they're quite the enigma, man, because they are a team that has been bad for the last 2 years for quite a while. And somehow they keep throwing themselves on. They're not really bad somehow, right? And they are in this weird spot where they've got all these guys, like you mentioned, Mishi, they've got the wings there, Zion, but they don't really want to actually trade any of these guys. It's just kind of weird. Like, they are the worst team that has a bunch of untouchable players I've ever seen. And I keep echoing that point because it winds up being true. Because if you're asking for
this core is from Shams, there's going to be so much sacrifice that's going to go into next year. And one person around Jaylen Brown told me today he's going to approach this with no ego. But the question is, what does that actually look like on the basketball court? Well, first off, defense. They say that's the biggest question for the team. Funny enough, the Sixers need the energy we saw in Game 7 against him, where he took on the Joel Embiid matchup because no one the Celtics could stop him, and despite the weight, the height difference, he took it upon himself and hold on it didn't go well, but many forget because of the end result. But he had some clutch stops in the fourth quarter. For example, 95-91. I mean, they needed to stop in this situation. It seems like another easy layup. Nope, he beats Joel to the rim and says, get that crap out of here. And now it's 99-98. It's crunch time. He's just doing everything in his power to hold his ground and clearly and be the grand out of gas because he misses short. And a lot had to do with Jaylen Brown making him work for his bucket all second half long. Ultimately, Tyrese Maxey took the Sixers home, but it was such an inspiring effort from Jaylen Brown. Not only did he score 20 points in the second half, but he also demanded the toughest assignment while being super undersized, and he forced critical misses when it matters most. That's the type of effort and mentality the Sixers need from Brown, as consistent as possible moving forward. The Sixers also need Jaylen Brown's final MVP version on this end of the floor, where he held Luka to 9 of 22 shooting 40% of the field, 25% from three, only 9 assists against him to 5 turnovers. I mean, just getting across half court was difficult for Luka in that series. Jaylen's athletic ability, buy-in, and force just consistently gave Luka the most trouble in that quick series. However, due to his role last season, considering he was the main shot creator without Jason Tatum, he took a step back in terms of guarding the opposing best players every single night. And here's the thing, matchup difficulty per bball.index.com with a good indicator, 76th percentile, not bad. However, previous 3 seasons, 91st percentile, 92nd percentile, and 89th percentile. Personally, considering all the talent the Sixers have, I expect it to be back around their next season. His strength is guarding on the basketball. In an ideal world, VJ will get the primetime matchup when the opposing team's best player is a guard like Jalen Brunson, Donovan Mitchell. Hopefully, VJ levels up physicality-wise, where he can even guard Shea type. But say it's a Cade Cunningham type matchup, Jaylen Brown can easily be like, I got this, and that's what I want from him. He just brings so much versatility on the basketball as a defender, and since the Sixers have so much offensive talent, they can really get the most out of that defensive positional versatility. It turns out in that category on bball.index.com, 88th percentile, one of the best in that regard. Simply doesn't get enough love for that, in my opinion. And I'm sure Nick Nurse will have a ton of fun with that. Everyone is always very critical of his off-ball defense, so that's something to keep an eye on. He tends to fall asleep, and you saw that flare up even more last season, most likely because he had the most offensive responsibility of his NBA career. To really tell, his focus was on offense and scoring. Meanwhile, on defense, not much focus at all. Doing the simple mathematics, it's safe to say, when everyone's healthy, he should give more energy and concentration on that end. Of course, that is the hope. Her bball index is always...
Mistakes like you get that fixed now and pay later.
Fix now, pay later? SafeLane offers flexible payment options and anywhere mobile service, so you can get it fixed here, or here, and pay later. Go to SafeLane.com today.
House defender, funny enough, last season was his best grade in that section. Another underrated thing about him is he's great as a secondary rim protector because of his size and athletic ability. Rim protection is self-explanatory, 82nd percentile there, but he really thrives in terms of rim deterrence, and that is defined as a value reflecting the rate at which opposing team offenses generate shots at the rim as a percentage of total shots, more or less while the defender is on the court. 97th percentile, one of the best in the NBA for that category. We've seen it before. He can be a very impactful defender. The absolute best case scenario in my eyes would be a Jaylen Brown career year on defense. I think he will sacrifice, but that will take another whole level of sacrificing and concentration because he's so talented on offense. I'm wondering if Nick Nurse will get the most out of him on that end of the floor, and that would be huge. Now let's go to the other end of the floor, and I would say the main sacrifice on this end will be get your buckets in the flow and get more unscathed buckets than last season. It turns out 63.6 of his buckets were unassisted last season. The year Boston won the championship, 47.7% of his buckets were assisted, so very close to 50-50. And in the NBA playoffs, when things got serious, 54.9% of his buckets were assisted. And I'd say this is the underrated thing about the Jaylen Brown addition. He's done this before, literally on a championship team. Everyone seems to look at that one quote the wrong way where he's like, oh yeah, it was my favorite season, not the championship year. The main reason why he said that is because no one believed in the Celtics. No one thought they would make the playoffs, so it meant a lot to him leading the charge as the #1 guy and really surpassing expectations, because I'm sure in the back of his head he was always the most confident human being you will ever see. There's probably some doubt that he can do that without Tatum. So when it happened, that must have felt great. And it probably felt even better because he can sense the disrespect from his front office. I digress. In terms of sacrifice, I want him living in transition off of misses and leading out with a fast pace. I want him cutting back doors when there's a chance and staying focused on ball. And his production in these areas are actually pretty solid. Movement points per 75 possessions. That's offensively from off-ball screen, cuts, and dump-offs. He was actually in the 80th percentile. My main point of improvement for him in terms of his buzzword would be improving as a catch-and-shoot three-point shooter. Look for it more often, get up more volume, and hopefully become more efficient. Last season, a career.
That Gobert from there.
Shoots standing three-pointers attempted at 33.8%. During the championship year, 3.7 attempts per game, 37.9%. The hope is he can combine that efficiency with the year before that, 2022-23 season, where he attempted 5.1 catch-and-shoot standing threes a game. Off the basketball, that will provide more spacing for his teammates, but also put way more stress on the defense and create more chances for him to attack closeouts. And as a driver, one of the best in the NBA. I would love to see him living off these types of situations and just absolutely disrespecting closeouts, getting to the basket in a blink of an eye. And this is such a superpower to have because against the Sixers, you see, there's no advantage. He's off the basketball and says, down the ball, you're not quick enough, you're not strong enough, I'm better than you, and I'm getting to the rim. And how many triples did that take? Only 2. And that's exactly what you want to see next to Tyrese Maxey, LeBron James, Joel Embiid, and all the talent the Sixers have. And guess what? In a lineup where you're without LeBron or Joel Embiid, who's out there with Maxey, and you're feeling it, don't worry, my guy. You're going to get your chance to get frisky, dribble the basketball, and pull them up in the mid-range. That's when you're going to find your bag, per se. There's going to be lineups for you to get to that. I believe in Jaylen Brown. I believe his words. He's going to approach the with no ego. He's been doing it his whole entire career. Just because he speaks with confidence and believes he can be the #1 guy and believes he's probably the best player in the NBA does not mean he's a selfish player. Of course, I'm expecting him to have games where he has tunnel vision and he's shooting a little too much, but that's going to happen. That's going to happen with every player. That's going to happen with Joel Embiid. As long as they can talk it out, call each other out with any problems, they're going to be just fine. And the fact that after you're seeing reports that everyone took part in recruiting LeBron James from the front office, from Tyrese Maxey, Joel Embiid, and Jaylen Brown makes me confident that they're willing to have those tough conversations. But overall, I think it's all over for long to act like Jaylen Brown is not capable of stepping up defensively because he's going to have a little reduced role offensively in some lineups with better talent. I mean, what a shock. Oh, whoa, he didn't give as much defensive effort because his top 2 players he was out there with was Derek White and Peyton Pritchard. Oh, in the season where he gave the most effort, they had Tatum, Porzingis, Drew Holiday. Oh, wow. Well, what a shock. That's all I got. Let me hear your thoughts for that.
Make fast your default. Make safe your default. Make Chrome your default. Choose Google Chrome.
5 of 9 shooting. And so it's Avdia with it. He brings it up for the Portland Trailblazers. Trailing by 4. Count it good. It's the Timberwolves now. Pass to Randall. They can get back in front with some points right here.
Yeah, they got behind, but really hung in there and didn't let the score get out of hand.
Now here's Henderson.
All right, y'all. So Dean the Great and Adrian Broner's fight camp, and I say that in quotes, just got marked out yet again by Mr. Bobby King Green. Okay, so Van Williams is a friend of both Adrian Broner and Dean the Great. I introduced the duo, but they basically threw him to the wolves, and by wolves I mean a singular wolf, and that wolf goes by the name of Bobby King Green, okay? Green is one of the most consistent fighters in modern combat sports, you know, to this date. And, you know, really, the sparring session went exactly how I expected and probably many of you expected. And to be clear, Ben is no bum when it comes to boxing. He actually, I feel like, is the most qualified to box Bobby in any scenario out of everybody in the warehouse. And I know that might sound crazy at first. You're like, well, oh, they have Bunny and they have AB. But think about it. Out of the fighters there with records, we have Dean. He's only fought influencer boxing and backyard, you know, YouTube shit. Bunny is recovering from being shot. So he's not about to spar anybody. And AB is basically retired without officially being retired. So Bang really is the only active fighter there. Which means it was, you know, his duty to defend the space when Bobby came in and set up shop, chest pumped out and all that stuff. We went over what happened the first time in my previous video on the subject. Now let's get into the sparring footage that we have here today. Put on right here.
Like, for 20 years, okay? For 20 years. Okay? You gotta do it for him. He can't get here.
Okay, I gotta put that on.
I'm smart, trust me. If I got hurt, I'll say, hey, I'll be like, hey, I didn't get out or some shit like that.
Good read by everyone. His pace. Carving out space.
Okay. I'm getting one up.
It's Gobert showing some good one, but there, a
Too much time.
I'm starting to come up with this because make money on my life play games on your phone.
So there's still a lot more footage to go over, but, you know, I have to say, Bob's style is very unconventional, and he's fighting exactly the same way he fights when he's standing up and throwing hands in the UFC and other mixed martial arts venues, right? But that's what makes his style so fun to watch as well. Kind of like basketball equipment, reminding like a Kyrie Irving or the LaMelo Ball, where they're allowed to get away with doing things that are considered unconventional, because they're actually so technically sound. If you really watch Bobby's fighting style in this sparring coach we have here against Man, he's often using his jab the way you're taught to use it when you're like hitting a heavy bag and things like that, where he's using his left jab and actually sometimes his right jab because he switches his stance very fluidly. But most of the time he's using a left jab to kind of line up his target, and then he throws the power shot with the right hand. So it's very technically sound boxing, despite the low/no guard, because he's relying completely on head movement, which is why he wanted to spar Bang with stitches still in his head, because he was confident that his stitches wouldn't, get messed up, because he believes in his head movement a lot.
Gobert showing he has what it takes in the fight.
Holiday outside to tie it up. Can't tie it up.
You always do that, bro.
And they commit an intentional
You
foul.
always do that. That's like the third time we gave you the ball in this time. You always open. You always do that shit, bro.
And so they choose to intentionally foul.
You gotta hit that, man. Your ass is sleeping.
Good on the first, and that gives them a 4-point cushion. And the second free throw, no good. It's good.
This team is in a tight spot, but Lou keeps his cool.
Oh my God! Wow. Man.
And they need to stop the clock, so there's a foul. And he misses the first one. Boy, he wanted that one to fall. And the second of two is good. That makes it a 3-point lead. And we've got a timeout called by Chauncey Billups. The magnitude at this juncture in the game clearly warranting a timeout. Turning here to our analysts, what factors, guys, come to your mind?
And if you can get a three, shoot it. Otherwise, get the quick two and a foul.
Yeah, time is the enemy at this point. So I think I'd go for the tie and avoid playing the foul game.
Now here's Holiday. And they go to the intentional foul.
Really no idea why you're fouling in a situation like that. Maybe there's some bad blood between those two.
Come
on, bro. How you fumbling the ball, nigga?
Frustrating way possible.
This nigga's a lame, bro. He's such a fucking lame, dude. This nigga fumbling the ball. He's fucking weak.